Right, okay. Jumpy, what is your bad point?
My bad point is complexity, and I think like right now, I think Elish is playing out of his mind. I think he's carrying a lot of the games they're playing. I think Hulserk is doing a decent job. He's not gonna be a Monastery or like the top operators in the world, but I think he's doing a decent job. And I think also JT, I think he's fragging good for being an IGL. And then we come down to Grim and Floppy, and I don't think they're like just being run over, but I feel like they're missing another like big player like Elish, someone that can like relieve the pressure from Elish. And when you have like players, if you had another players, not maybe just as good as Elish, but at least close to it, they can relieve pressure for the other role players, so they can play better. And now I feel like they are relying so much on Elish, and if Elish doesn't play good, it's going to be a super tough game. And even when everyone in the team is playing like good CS, they still have a good, like hard time winning games. So I feel like they are at least one player change away to at least being a consecutive or consistent like playoff team, because I
Yes.
think they have it there. But I think it's like they had this lineup for a while now, and I think it's just a bad point that they haven't tried to get another player to help Elish.
It sucks about to talk badly about this team because I mean I know kind of a lot on the inside of what's going on with them and everything like that, but I'm kind of curious from your perspective, Jumpy. You know, like sure you might want a player change too, but what do you think of their tactics? Because I think JT has been a player, just an IGL in general. That's kind of I don't know what the general pulse is of the scene right now on him and the calling style in general of Complexity because. I've always felt like I've felt like he has upgraded his calling ability and even his individual play over the last year or so. And I want to know if you're seeing that from the outside.
For me, when I'm looking at the games, I don't feel like it's a tactical problem. It's more maybe the execution of the tactics, maybe like a mistiming, maybe a player do a mistake, maybe a decision making in round. I feel that's where like they crumble a bit, and that's where I think like of course like swapping players is not the only answer, but I think they will at least give them some room, and if they can work on the other issues as well that they raised like in interviews, I think they could be a really good team. And I'm saying this like not to bash on any other players. I don't think like I think they just have like two role players, and I think they need one more star player. So it's not about like this player sucks. It's just they just need an upgrade, and if they do, I think they can be like a really dangerous team.
No,
Right. Right.
I go on and give you a take.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's not that I mean, Floppy had a pretty bad sequence for maybe 8 or so months. I think after Sydney, and after the Blast Fall Finals of last year, he started kind of tapering off in performance. He's actually seen a little bit of a resurgence in performance in this season, like EWC, the Blast Fall groups, even what he's doing right now at Cologne. So I feel like maybe during the player break, he grinded some hours, found some demos. I don't know what he did. I mean, centered himself in some way. Also, I feel like he's playing a little bit more aggressively. He's not just playing to fit the system. He's just calling his own number a little bit more, which is nice. But I agree with the execution because, yeah, no, I feel like I've seen, no, I'm not, I feel like I have seen Complexity put themselves in winning positions. And then it's like the one corner that you didn't check on the bomb site is the one corner that remaining CT is in. And then he just gets a multi-frag and it's like, come on. Like it could be all different people. It could be literally be anybody on the team with the exception of a Liege. And I'll see like, you know, Grim, Halzerk, JT, Floppy, whatever. I'll see any of those four just not clear this one angle. And that one angle is where the CT is. And it feels like I'm watching that once per map with Complexity. And then they lose a pivotal T-side round that they otherwise should have won. Or even it's on a retake or in kind of a slower round. And it just feels like the diligence isn't always there. I'm not sure what you would boil that down to, that you kind of just have this feeling that the T's are probably going to be in this area. I guess it's game sense. I guess it's game sense and also just kind of a lack of option coverage where they're running in and they just think like, nah, if he's there, then he deserves to win. It's like, really? Because so many other teams would at least just have a guy flick their mouse to this angle. And yeah, I think those kind of moments for Complexity where it's most frustrating to watch them, because also I've just noticed Complexity, they feel like they're such hot start kings when they were actually playing the major and they crumbled from being up 2-0. They had a hot start versus FaZe. They had a hot start versus Vitality. They had hot starts versus Mouse today as well, actually, and they just fall down. It's like they're the kings of getting come back on. It's so crazy. So yeah, it's really disappointing to watch them because every game it just feels like I'm getting like heart palpitations by the end of it.
The problem I have is this: when people go like, because that's like a classic player/coach move of like, I don't think player changes are the right move. That's just like a thing that people repeat, right? They've had this lineup for 1 year. For every day of CS2, this lineup has existed. No changes. Now, if you remember at the beginning of CS2, they had like that final, then that semi. Nothing since then, by the way. Since then, they're just like an also ran. Then they had that one Pro League this year where they made semis and then that's it. And just got banged out straight away by Mouse. Now, here's what's mad. If you go to the end of last year, in December, they went to DreamHack Challenge, ESL Challenger, DreamHack Atlanta, and got fucking grouped by Mongols and Apex. Not even the good Apex. That's way after all the other players left. Like, bro, they can't even win like a tier 2 LAN.
They won the most recent ESL Challenger. They did win that one. They won the one versus
Falcons.
Yeah, so technically, they beat the Falcons.
There's one. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to know the other teams? Do you want to know the other top 4?
I know. Yeah.
Ensign Aurora.
Yes, I know.
And this was in June. So they're dog shit, mate. They're actually fucking shit. So my problem is this. I agree with Jumpy. What people aren't getting is this. This is a team I've bet and won on loads of times. I've actually got loads of wins. I've won more bets than I've lost on complexity because I only bet them once they... Here's what you do. This is the secret formula. You wait till they play a top team. They get convincingly beaten. Everyone goes, they're trash, and goes crazy betting the other team. Their odds go to like a 2.4, 2.3. Then I bet on them then they get the fluke win. But the odds are so crazy, it makes sense to me to bet that they only have to get it right like 1 out of every 2.5 times or something ridiculous. So I only do it as an underdog. If they're ever a favourite, I'll get the fuck out. And also, they have a decent map pool, actually. The map pool's not bad, so they can also win a map. I like to do the bet one map, at least. That's like a feature you can do. You don't have to bet the whole series. You can I will win one map in the series, basically. Often that gets high because people just expect to lose every map because they think they're outmatched, right? And the problem is, basically, I agree with Jumpy. Every time you think of a good call game, oh my God, do they have to drag it over the line? It's so hard for this team to win. It's so hard. Like, one of the saddest things about Elige is this. You might think, right, and this is what it should be like for Elige, that if he plays badly, they lose. Think about what people say about Ziwu. Didn't apply today, by the way, against FaZe. But normally, if Ziwu plays badly, of course you lose. Your Vitality, he's your star player, right? Bro, Elige has to play good in even the losses to give them a chance to win. Like, that's how insane it is. I think he plays good almost every game at this point in time, by the way. It's actually bonkers how good that guy is. Like, got to be one of the most consistent riflers in all of World CS. So, the problem I have is, it's the most obvious, like, every single checked box. Like, we're not doing what people think, which is like, oh my God, Astral's full of immediately caught 3 players. No, we've given them a year, a million different tournaments. We're giving you tier 2 tournaments. You've only basically come good, like, 4 times out of 18 or something insane like that. And even then, your one win was a bullshit win over Falcons, who everyone says sucks, and then Aurora was in the semi-final. So, to me, it's the most obvious team you make a change. And the reason why it kills me is this. I agree with your assessment. The 3 who obviously get to stay is Elige's 100%, JT's pretty good, and Holzuk's actually fine. He's totally serviceable. There aren't that many big-name AWPers you can get right now, unless you have some magical crystal ball to get the next ultimate, right? But the reason it kills me is, not only is it obvious who they should get, as in the role, they just let them all go. It's that usual story. Because you know the obvious star player you'd add to this team if you got the players you've got? It's a fucking star lurker, isn't it? You just add like a star lurker rifle. Who was on the market recently? Oh yeah, Blame F. Oh, JKS. Oh, they're all gone. They've all gone to other teams. And then also, like Maui's alluding to there, not only publicly, it's in pride privately they're just not going to spend money, guys. The problem is, this team, as far as I can tell, is supposed to be a lottery ticket. It's supposed to be a min-max. Essentially, you're just hoping, because let's be real, they probably will qualify to the major, and then they'll get the millions from the sticker money, and then it'll make sense in the org. The problem is, because they've got a Elige, and they've somehow sort of like min-maxed their way into being a pretty good team. They've kind of moneyballed it too, because they've gotten to like a level above where they normally expect they can make the odd playoff run. We're all hoping there would be like an RV and you sign a big name player and now you can actually win the tournament. Like, unfortunately, that doesn't seem like it's the reality. So yeah, it's just a sad state of affairs, actually. It's just sad, I think.
And also, I think like the longer this keep happening, you can see already like frustration. I've never seen like Holzuk like being this frustrated. Yeah. I've seen him smacking his mouth like so many times this tournament, and like this is frustration building up, right? Because it's something like even when they're playing like good, it's maybe a close loss, maybe a close win. It's a struggle all the time. So frustration is gonna build, and the longer this goes on, then one like swap of players is not enough, you know, because you change the team culture and it's painted it in a way. So and also if they don't have money to spend, like how are you gonna keep Elige for too long? And then if you lose Elige, you don't have anything, you know. So if you don't have money, then maybe you need to take a gamble on a lesser known player, you know. I don't know what it is, but I think they have something good that they can achieve, and I think they're just one player change away.
Two things. One, I agree. Pick one of the two. If you want, break a fucking pool cue in half and tell them we're holding tryouts like the Dark Knight. Whoever dies in the Minecraft game, go and get an FPL player. Gamble on a European player. That's good. An up and coming. There's a million out there. We just talked about people like Mouse. There's a million people out there. By the way, why not get one of their scouts or something and fucking pay him a finder's fee? Get me the next up and coming player. Get that guy in. Bring him in for some firepower. Or, here's the other thing to tell you. Here's why I think when they do interviews, like Elige now, by the way, is just cycling through a Rolodex of excuses. Like, we need to practice more and get our community. You've had a year, mate. You've had a year. You've had a million prayer breaks, million boot camps, million tournaments. There's nothing left to do. Like, fundamentally, it just doesn't obviously work as a team. You can't actually be a top 5 team. That's just clear at this point in time. You can probably be like borderline top 10 at all times, /8th, depending on where you're placed at the big tournament. So I'll just say this as well. Let's just say my little birds also told me Elige has looked for a way out, or at least he's been open to it, and people have inquired, and maybe he could have gone to other teams. I've already told you the Liquid one, but there's other squads too. Like, I've heard basically there's a world where maybe this guy would have been on a better team, because I wouldn't blame him, by the way. He's putting his hours for this team. He's putting his service. It's not like he's saying, oh, publicly, I want to trade like fucking Carmelo Anthony 15 years ago, whatever. But I wouldn't hate on him, and this is the reason why I agree. Even if it's just going and gambling on a cheap player, the reason why you must do it now is because even if he hasn't gotten out now, he would be totally entitled to leave tomorrow if he could. Like, and if he leaves, you have nothing. Like, yeah, you know, Hozung JT, we just gave him comments, pretty good, right? But if you take them out and then you put another NA player in instead of Elige, bro, we're not even having this conversation. They would never even be on this show. No one would ever pick them for a good, bad, or they would be irrelevant. They'd lose in planes. So right now you're riding Elige completely. So you have to understand that. Like, you have a window while Elige's there and really good. That's another thing, by the way. God forbid he just gets demoralised and becomes bad at the game. That would be really fucking sad for everyone. So I just think it's a great example of, I actually agree, even if it's not like sign a big player like I say, look, I'm sure Blame F and JK's won a nice salary. At least go and get like one of the up-and-coming European players or something like that, you know. Go and get one of them. Just seems obvious. See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.